I'm Larry Ray, President and CEO of American Manganese Inc., listed on the TSX Venture, ticker symbol AMY, A-M-Y, with proprietary patents in the U.S., China, and South Africa. Our focus is on recycling lithium-ion batteries for electric vehicles. China recently legislated the responsibility for recycling onto their electric vehicle manufacturers and importers. For more information, please visit AmericanManganeseInc.com or phone me, Larry Ray, at 778-574-4444.
Welcome to the Goddard Report. Comments made on the Goddard Report and TalkDigitalNetwork.com are an expression of opinion only. Here is Jim Goddard.
My guest is Sharon Noble, Director of the BC Coalition to Stop Smart Meters. Welcome to the show, Sharon.
Thank you very much, Jim.
Not that long ago, you sent 8 questions to BC Hydro about their proposed regulation changes. What were some of the questions and what were some of their responses?
Well, the responses were unsatisfactory, and my questions, I think, were quite pedestrian. The tariff is the contract that supposedly governs BC Hydro. It is written by BC Hydro and approved by the BC Utilities Commission and outlines the responsibility that BC Hydro has and, similarly, the responsibility that we have. Basically, it's written on behalf of Hydro and to their benefit. It says things, for instance, that we must allow Hydro full access to our property so that they can maintain their meters, things like that. But there are a few things in there that benefit us. For instance, saying that if BC Hydro makes a mistake in billings and they discover it months or years later, they can only go back and charge you for 6 months. Now, this may sound weird, but it's important, and it's happened to quite a few people who have smart meters, or who are in the Smart Meter Coalition, rather. In December of 2013, BC Hydro started charging everyone who was keeping an analog $32.40 a month, supposedly the cost to read our meters. Everyone agreed that, if they would take the meter choice program, they would pay the $32.40. Many people never got charged. They kept their analogs, and they were willing to pay. I know today that there are still people with analog meters that are not being billed the legacy fee. And a couple of people, it was found out, Hydro discovered their error, and they got in touch with these people, and they told them, you have to have a smart meter because you haven't been paying the legacy fee. Well, these people got really upset and called me and said, well, we were never billed. We would have paid it if we'd been billed. So I got back and I told them, read the tariff. Tell Hydro to read the tariff, that they do not have a right to do this. You paid your bill. They made a mistake. So Hydro got back and grudgingly said, okay, it's in the tariff. Okay, but you're going to have to pay the $32.40 back for nearly the 2 years. I think one person was told over $700. Again, this person was upset and got to me, and I said, again, tell them to read the tariff. They're limited to 6 months. And BC Hydro denied it. This person went to the BC Utilities Commission, and the BC Utilities Commission said, yes, you're right. The tariff says you're limited to 6 months recovery, Hydro. If that hadn't been in the tariff, or if Hydro did not have to follow the tariff, things would have been different. They would have been able to put the smart meter on these people's homes, and they would have been able to back charge them $700. Now, part of the tariff that Hydro wants to change is to remove the statement that BC Hydro is controlled and limited by its actions according to the tariff. They want to remove that. And when I pointed that out, no explanation, no real explanation. They said it's apparent that this is in the tariff. I don't think it's apparent. If it's so apparent, why not keep the wording in? If this is the intention, keep the wording in the tariff so that everyone knows it. There are several other things that really, really bother me about the changes that they're trying to put through. Another one is a statement that has been there for years, and they've just added some minor changes nothing significant, but I thought since they're taking the opportunity to change the tariff to their benefit, I think we should take the opportunity to have things clarified for us. A major statement is that BC Hydro cannot be held liable for any damages done, even if the damages are caused by willful misconduct on the part of their employees. I don't see how anybody can say that. This would not stand up in court. And what they're saying, or what they're doing, is trying to tell people, don't bother, you don't have any rights. We made a mistake, we burned your house down. We made a mistake and blew your computer up. You have absolutely no recourse. I think that this is something that the people of British Columbia deserve to know is in the tariff, and it should be removed. Now, the answer from BC Hydro was, oh, well, this is just in there to prevent silly lawsuits. If that's the purpose of it, then make it perfectly clear that they will not be held liable for facetious lawsuits. That's not what the tariff says. It says that they would not be held responsible for anything, even damages caused by willful misconduct. There are several areas of this, Jim, that Hydro really needs to be called on, and none of the answers that I was given I felt were adequate. And the thing that really disturbs me is that these changes were done surreptitiously. They were made surreptitiously. The entire application that is under review right now by the BC Utilities Commission pertains to rate structure. They wanted to, BC Hydro wanted to go through and realign some of the rates that are, especially for commercial people. When I found out about this in September of last year, I was told there was nothing significant as far as smart meters were concerned, or for really anybody else to be concerned about. I asked to be an intervener, but because there was nothing that I had any interest in, I wasn't approved. Then in December, months later, I just happened to be reading through the application responses and saw that, and this is December 21st, that Hydro was putting through a complete revamping of the tariff. They're calling it administrative changes. It's a heck of a lot more than that. And I think it's underhanded for Hydro to be allowed to put these major changes through when really the only changes they should be allowed to make are those that are pertaining to the application that is being reviewed right now. That would be the rate structure. They're not limited to that. And when I contacted BCUC after I got these responses back, about which, they weren't answers. They weren't answers at all. And I wanted to respond further, and BCUC said, no, I can't. My next opportunity is at the oral hearing in August. I have to go and appear before BC Hydro and their lawyers if I want to argue. And I will do that. But BCUC said that, no, there's nothing wrong with BC Hydro trying to change the entire tariff without doing it openly. I suggested to BCUC that they should be limiting BC Hydro, and if BC Hydro wants to amend the tariff, refresh it, update it, however they want to put it, do it under a separate application that is open and let people, the public, know that this is happening, and people who are concerned can get involved and raise issues. But this isn't happening.
Is the public allowed to be at these hearings?
You can appear, you can listen. You have to have registered in September as an intervener. Now, I was allowed a special exemption because when I saw that all this was happening, and there were some changes for smart meters. For instance, there's a new connection fee of $700 if your meter is turned off because you haven't paid your legacy fee or because you have obstructed the meter. If your meter is covered, when they come and want to change it to a smart meter and they disconnect your power, you have to pay $700 to have it reconnected. This is new. So I went in and I objected, and I said, you told me before there was going to be nothing for smart meters. I want to be accepted as an intervener. And I asked for help from the members of the coalition, and many of them wrote to the BC Utilities Commission and asked that I be accepted as an intervener. And I was accepted, but only to talk about these specific issues that pertain to the smart meter and to the tariff. The public can attend and listen, but they cannot participate. They can't speak or anything.
Are smart meters saving people any money?
Nope. And this has been consistent. Over the last 5 or 6 years, no utility company that I've been able to find has been able to report that there's been any savings in electricity or any reduction in the rates. In fact, Ontario has increased their rates yet again. They had the last rate increase was in November of 2015, and now they are increasing rates again as of May 1st. And this is happening all over North America. And many of the utility companies are admitting openly that the promise that they were giving did not come to reality. It was not true. The meters are not saving anything. And something that's very, very peculiar, the rationalization for the most recent increase in Ontario, the one that's going to take place in May 1st, is that people didn't use enough electricity over the winter. Because the rates are so high, people are not using electricity as much as they were. And so now hydro doesn't have the money, and so they're having to increase more because people aren't using enough electricity. Rather than encouraging conservation, the smart meter program is, just increasing the rates. It's a spiral. It's a terrible spiral.
Isn't this something you predicted, that as hydro rates became higher and higher, people would save more and more, find alternative sources for electricity, and because of that, hydro would charge even more?
Yes, it's happening everywhere, and yes, I did predict it. And I also predict, as do many, that the utility companies are killing themselves at this. They are increasing the rates to cover off all their stupid projects like the smart meter program and Site C, which is totally unnecessary. And as people become more frustrated and see that there's no end to this increase and get upset with BC Hydro and the way they're being treated, they're going off the grid. And as solar panels and batteries are becoming cheaper and cheaper and more efficient, more people are going off, and the rates are going to have to go up even higher. And pretty soon the only people who are going to be left paying hydro are those who can't afford to go off grid. And the utility companies are really in a death spiral. It's happening all over the place.
We'll have more with Sharon Noble right after the break.
I'm Larry Ray, President and CEO of American Manganese, Inc., listed on the TSX Venture, ticker symbol AMY, A-M-Y, with proprietary patents in the U.S., China, and South Africa. Our focus is on recycling lithium-ion batteries for electric vehicles. China recently legislated the responsibility for recycling onto their electric vehicle manufacturers and importers. For more information, please visit AmericanManganeseInc.com or phone me, Larry Ray, at 778-574-4444.
Unbelievable harmony, spectacular performance, the ultimate tribute to the Everly Brothers and Simon & Garfunkel. Bird Dog and the Vintage Electric Band coming to West Vancouver Friday, May 6th at the K-Meek Center. Buy online and save at ontourtickets.com.
In Goddard we trust.
Welcome back. We're speaking with Sharon Noble. Sharon, teachers across Canada and the U.S. have been sending letters of concern to their school boards about the exposure of Wi-Fi radiation to the children they teach and to themselves. What has been the response to those letters?
Not only letters, Jim, but they're doing presentations before their school boards. There was a teacher in Rhode Island who, after months and months and months of writing letters and pleading about the Wi-Fi in schoolrooms that are making her students sick, she did a presentation before the board of directors, and she was fired. She was fired not only because she was protesting the Wi-Fi, but also because she dared to turn the Wi-Fi off in her room when it wasn't being used. The safe way, if you have to have Wi-Fi, and there's no reason to have Wi-Fi, because fiber optic cable is available in most schools, and it's safer, it's faster, it's more efficient, and in the long run it's cheaper. But if you have to have Wi-Fi, the safest way is to download the material onto the laptops or the iPads and then use them in airplane mode. This would mean that the teachers could turn off the Wi-Fi modems for most of the day and protect the children from this radiation. And this is what the teacher did. And she was reprimanded and recently fired. There are many teachers now who are taking action after having written to their principals, having written to the school boards, and many just being silent because they know that the principals and the school boards will not be happy when they protest the fact that the Wi-Fi is making them and the children sick. They face consequences like this teacher in Rhode Island, either being reprimanded or being fired. But finally, some of the teachers realize that they have a responsibility. Just like the principals and the school board, the teachers have a responsibility to the children to keep them safe in their learning environment. And the teachers are starting to speak out. There are quite a few very, very brave teachers who are still working, who are writing letters to the Prime Minister here in Canada and to governors and to multiple organizations in the States, telling people about this danger and providing them with scientific evidence showing that Wi-Fi modems and prolonged exposure to microwave radiation is especially dangerous for children. Children are more vulnerable, and many children are experiencing health effects. Parents are not being told. One teacher, a teacher in Alberta, has written, and she has faced consequences because she told parents not to let the children use iPads when they were connected to to Wi-Fi and hold them on their laps. This is in the manual. This is in the iPad manual, saying that it should not be held close to the body unless it's in airplane mode. She told the parents this, and she got into trouble. Parents are not even being told about the dangers of Wi-Fi or the fact that their kids are being exposed to Wi-Fi all day long. And when children are coming home with headaches and with nosebleeds, being unable to sleep, having problems concentrating, parents don't know why, and neither do their doctors because no one's being educated about this. And thank goodness the teachers are starting to speak out. And frankly, I believe that with the educational material, the scientific material that's being given to the school boards and to the principals, if these officials do not take action to protect the children, that they could be held personally liable. I believe parents could sue these people personally for not doing their jobs. Under the School Board Act, the responsibility rests with these people to act in parentis locus, to take the place of the parents and to protect the children as the parents would. And if these people know that there's a danger, know that there is a possible danger, they have to take action. Now, the school boards and the principals are insured under director's insurance, and many of them have said that they can't be sued because they have insurance against that. They should read their insurance policies. The insurance policies that I've seen say that so long as the people are acting in good faith, the insurance company will protect them. But if they've been warned of a possible danger and they do not take action to remove that danger from the children or to remove the children from the danger, then they're not acting in good faith. This is a very dangerous situation, and I applaud the teachers that are taking a stand. It can make a big difference, and I hope that the parents who are listening to this will speak with the teachers, will speak with the principals, and make their concerns known. The parents have to do it too. Parents have a duty to get involved here And they can't just rely on the teachers. Parents should be getting involved, and they should be demanding that the Wi-Fi be replaced with wired Internet access. Even iPads can be linked to an Ethernet cable. And everything can be done in a wired basis, or, as I said before, in an airplane mode, so that the Wi-Fi modems can be turned off.
Sharon, you're the one who alerted us to a move by Lloyd's of London, the world's largest insurer, that it will not pay claims connected to Wi-Fi radiation.
That's right.
So how can these school boards claim their insurance is going to cover them? Because, of course, Lloyd's is also a big reinsurer. They're the ones who insure the insurance companies.
Because the claims will not be made against the claims may not be made against them for sickness. They could be. But the director's insurance would protect them against lawsuits if the parents come after them and say you're not doing your job. You bring out a good point. You know, it could very well be that the director's insurance will not cover them, depending upon how the claim is laid. Because certainly it is microwave radiation. And as you say, Lloyd's has said that they will not cover any claims, whether it's due to fires, whether it's due to health, any claims whatsoever associated with microwave radiation. So, yeah, your point's a good one, Jim. They could refuse it.
Sharon, anything else you wanted to bring up for us today?
Not that I can think of right now, Jim. I'm still waiting for the BCUC to come out with their report in response to the evidence that I provided last July about fires. I think that there's a lot of delaying going on here, and there's no reason for it. They've got the evidence. They know that the smart meters are causing fires, and they're doing nothing about it. I think that it's time for people to start writing the BCUC and demanding that this report be made public.
Sharon, thank you very much for chatting with us. Are there websites people can go to find out more about the issue?
Yes, there sure are, Jim. They can go to www.stopsmartmetersbc.com, and they can go to www.citizensforsafetechnology.org.
Thank you again for chatting with us.
Thank you, Jim, for the opportunity.
My guest has been Sharon Noble, Director of the Coalition to Stop Smart Meters in BC. You're listening to the Goddard Report on TalkDigitalNetwork.com. Find us on Twitter at TalkDigitalNet. Our popular YouTube channel is Talk Digital Network. Comments or questions for the show can be emailed to info@howstreet.com. I'm Jim Goddard. Thanks for listening.
Comments made on the Goddard Report and TalkDigitalNetwork.com are an expression of opinion only. The Goddard Report is available online and mobile at TalkDigitalNetwork.com. The Goddard Report is a production of How Street Media Incorporated.